Hi everyone, it's Desiree. Today we are going to create a holiday card. Yes, because it's July and we can do July and Christmas. Yay! So I'm going to be using the large die kit for July from Spellbinders and also the 3D embossing folder. This is a beautiful embossing folder, has a beautiful background with pine cones and pines, and it is called Pine Cones and Berries. The large die set is called Snow-Capped Holidays, and I was really focusing on the word snow-capped for some reason. Could not get that out of my mind. But this makes a beautiful birdhouse that you can hang from a branch, and then you can add some holiday greenery and florals to this. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. There's also a couple little birds you can add. I opted not to add the birds because, again, we can use our dies in multiple ways. So first we're going to get our panel run through the embossing folder. And we're going to set up our mats. So we're making a 5x7 card today. And I'll be using a green and a red mat for our card panel. And I do want to get that set prior to starting to put the dies on. So I'm, instead of creating off the card and then putting it onto the card base, I definitely want to get this set to a certain point. Now, you can do it either way. A lot of times when I set my card panel off of the card base, because 9 out of 10 I do use what I call a design base. So some of you are probably like, okay, what is she talking about? She's really rambling here. I always have a piece of cardstock, whether it's the actual size of the card or it's been cut down to a certain size. Like if it's a standard A2 size card base I'm using, I'll cut it to 4 by 5 1/4. I'll work on that off of the card base and then I'll take that to the card base. For me, that works. It allows flexibility and I don't mess up my card base. I don't, get ink all over it or anything else. Not that that would matter to me. But sometimes, if you are gifting it to somebody or if you're selling it, somebody may look at that and, not take into account that we are not Hallmark. We are handmade art creators. So we're going to get inky. We're going to have ink going all over the place or pastes or whatever. So that's why I usually tend to do what I chose here to come off of the card, and there's a lot of pieces to this. One of the things that I do like about dies, whether it's the Spellbinders kit of the month, and you can get a large and or a small, or whether it's just a general die to create a scene, and those are the dies that I'm talking about. You can mix and match. You can make any scene that you're looking to make. Which is great. You could, with this die here, you've got a birdhouse, you've got 2 birds, you've got holiday greenery, and you've got a branch. And you've got snow. You could just use the branch, put the birds on it. You could just use the branch, add the holiday foliage to the branches. You could just use the birdhouse with the greenery. You could just use the birdhouse with the birds. You could just use the birds. So there are so many ways that you could break down, and I'm using this die as an example. There is so many ways that you can use your dies to get different looks. So there I think I listed maybe 5 or 6 different looks for a card. And that's one of the many reasons why I do like die cutting work. It's like a puzzle for me. Now, let's get back to the card here. Rambled. So you can see I'm using a block to hold this down, gluing down onto a 3D panel. You know, you've got to make sure that the glue gets adhered, but I did make a mistake here as I'm constructing this. So I'm using double-sided foam tape to prop up these items. Yes, this will have a lot of dimension, a ton of dimension. So if you do mail this, I do suggest a bubble mailer. And here's where I'm noticing and realizing the mistake that I made. So I should not have put that red roof panel, that roof die, in place yet. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, how can I get this on without having to die cut the entire thing, because that's what was in my head. The only thing really that I had to die cut is the red strip, because I just wasn't able to get this up onto the panel. And you can see there's my frustration. So I'm going to tear this off. And now we're going to be able to put the snow cap on first. And then we're going to add the 2 shades of red to make it look 3D. So again, not throwing out the entire piece, making sure to make it work. We can rip things off, add things back on. It's not going to destroy what we're doing or anything like that. So I'm just rebuilding this piece, adding a little bit of foam tape into those areas so that it'll lay the way that I'm looking to lay. So yes, so this piece will have lots of dimension. If you're sending this to somebody, yes, I would put this in a bubble mailer and it will add to your postage. Or this is the type of card that basically I would either have propped up in my home for the holidays as decoration. I think cards and 3D elements that we create make beautiful home decor pieces. Or, yes, you would have to go into a 3D mailer. So for me, you know, I get asked this question, you know, how can you make a card so that it doesn't cost more in postage? For me, that is tough. I like dimension. I like adding different elements and adding more layers, whether it's collage, whether it's die cutting, whether it's gems. For me, I like that look. Now, how could this card be a 1-layer card, what I refer to? Yes, what you can do is not have 2 other mats. Only have the 1 mat of your 3D embossing folder. Don't double up with double-sided foam tape or double layers of your cardstock for your die cuts. Just have the 1 layer. Don't add any pastes. Don't add any sequins. Don't add any pearls or gems. If you want to have a pearl or a gem look, you could use a metallic pen, like a jelly roll pen, and make little circles to add those. They're just some of the things that you could do. Keep your cards to be A2 size, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. In the States, if you go over that size, if you go into a 5 by 7, that alone, just creating a 5 by 7 card, can and will add postage amount to your cards. So I'll get into that concept a little bit more and in a later video that you'll see this month. So when I got asked that question, it got me thinking, how could one do that and get a similar look with cards that have all of the dimension to it? And the concept of dimension is this: you either like it or you hate it. It's just one of those things. And you can get different levels of dimension. So we'll get more into that into another video. You can see here I'm continuing to add, now I'm on to the greenery, so I'm adding that by the opening and over the pole, the little tiny stick that comes out of a birdhouse where a bird would perch itself. And now I'm just adding the berries in around the pine cones. So the greenery is great because the light green there that I have for the greenery, you could add white pearls to that. And that could be mistletoe, you've got pine leaves, you've got pine cones, you've got holly leaves, and you've got berries. So they're really hitting a lot of the areas when it comes to the holiday greenery. What I'm pulling in now is something that I've grown to love. This is Snowtex by Deco Art. This is an awesome paste that you can add to your pieces and it'll give the look of snow. So I think that is awesome. And I'm just applying this and patting it down. Now, what's great, you can either go heavy, you can go light, and you're going to still get the effect. So this is like a sand mixed with white paint. That's what it feels to me, very gritty. And now I'm just applying it to the top of the branches as well, just to get a little bit of texture on there. And we added it on top of the pine cones down below. So we're not going to do any splatter to give a snow blizzard, what I like to give the blizzard effect, but we are going to make the Snowtex look like we had one. I'm going to come in with a white gel pen and add even more details to these pieces to make it look like snow is sitting on these branches and within the opening. So a white gel pen. Gel pens themselves are great accent for your pieces, whether it's white, the gold metallic, the silver metallic, the stardust, and the black glaze. They're the ones that I use the most when it comes to just adding some highlights and special effects to the card. I'm now going to put a larger area around this opening, again, just to give it that 3D look, to add some snow in there as well. I'm going to be adding a sentiment, and I'm using one of the sentiments from the Merry and Bright sentiment strips. It's the Better Press strips. And I just, as I was playing with my Better Press, I had gotten this and just pressed a bunch of them. So now I have them ready to go on my desk. And I'm just going to mat that onto some red cardstock. And now we're going to carefully put this onto our 5x7 card base, which of course I did not do, but that's okay. We can push around it and make sure that it is well secured. And there is our project. I absolutely love it. I think this would look beautiful sitting up on a mantle or a shelf, whether it's in your own home as decor or whether you're giving it to a friend to celebrate the upcoming holidays, which they will be here very soon. They are just around the corner. I cannot believe how this year is flying by. As always, the main products that I use will be listed down below, along with all of the other clubs if you wanted to check those out, and gallery for even more inspiration for Spellbinders. If you have any questions, make sure you leave those down below as well, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. If you haven't yet, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and ring the bell for notifications, and hopefully you'll be notified. Some are, some aren't. Unfortunately, though, it's nothing that I can control. It's just check your settings. I don't know, and I apologize, but check back often. But remember, enjoy the process of creating your art. And remember, you are creating art. Just have fun with it, try new things, get inky, but just enjoy. And most of all, remember, always be creative in everything that you do every day. I will talk to you in the next video, and until then, take care, guys.